Hey everybody, it's Sneaky Narcotic, back at it again with another RAVNICA Allegiance spoiler. Oh man, I am enjoying the mess out of spoiler season. I have some good ones for you today, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. This first one, Gutter Bones. 1 black to cast. It's a creature, skeleton warrior, and it's a rare. Gutter Bones enters the battlefield tapped. Pay 1 generic and 1 black, return Gutter Bones from the graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only during your turn and only if an opponent lost life this turn. The flavor text reads, "Down here, things don't stay dead. Lavinia." This card is still doing really good, or still staying on par, in my opinion, with Rakdos. And, I like that they're still continuing this whole sacrifice and dealing damage, and it's very Rakdos, and I love it. And even if you wanted to put in Orzhov, it's okay, you know. not necessarily, you know, like for instance, using a Pitiless Pontiff. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. Pitiless Pontiff gains Death Touch. So yeah, you could use it in that, and I guess that's what some people are calling an aristocrats deck, boosting creatures based off of sacrificing lesser creatures. I was thinking about, of course, always, and let me see if I can find her real quick, because she is the bae right now. Yes, Judith the Scourge Diva, consistently killing your creature and letting the diva deal damage straight to the opponent's face. Because you can use them as a blocker, so that kind of shuts it out. Although, I just... it makes sense. Return it to your hand if an opponent lost life this turn. It makes sense to use it with Judith, so that way you can hit the opponent in the face and then bring it to your hand. And basically bring it back to the battlefield for 3, but it comes in tapped. This card reminds me a lot of one of my favorite cards in Standard, that consistently comes back out and is in this kind of sacrifice to deal damage deck already built by Poison Tip Arrow, Poison Tip Archer, and this particular card together. So basically, you know, you play Resembling Skeleton for 2, and then if you at instant speed, return Resembling Skeleton from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is a 1/1, and it's an uncommon. It's a skeleton warrior as well, so I don't understand why this is considered a rare. For basically more of a roundabout way to bring it to the battlefield, and one more power, one more attack. You know, that's all I gotta say on that one. The next card is zhur-taa Goblin. 1 red, 1 green. It is a creature, goblin, berserker, uncommon. It comes in with Riot, so +1/+1 counter or haste. And then the flavor text says, among the zhur-taa clan, goblins are the first to enter Battle Fury. When the battle is over, the survivors are still frothing at the mouth, looking for someone to hit. So, I do think that it gains its uncommon, obviously. It's doing something more than just being a body on the field, and that's nice. I think it's on par to potentially just consistently be in Growl decks, just based off of the idea that, you know, turn 1 you get a mana down, turn 2 you get another mana down. This creature comes out for a 2/2 with haste, or a 3/3 for 2. So that's not that bad of a way of doing things, you know. Smothering Tithe. I love the art on this. It's just this guy, I can't tell, I guess that's bouncing out of his mouth, but he's just spitting coins out of his mouth. So Smothering Tithe, 3 generic, 1 white. It's an enchantment. It's a rare. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and then the flavor text says, I await your donation, Dasha or Zov Priest. So, I like this card because it's like really cool ramp in standard, in commander, in the color white itself. It's just really cool ramp because opponents normally draw 1 card per turn, so you're already asking them to pay 2 mana or you get sacrificed land, you know. I like that you get to make the artifacts, and I like that. So hold on, let's go back to where is it? There's a card that I'm consistently thinking about playing more and more every single time I see it. Maybe it's on page 3. Where are you, Christmas? Maybe it's on page 4. Gosh, there's so many pages. Maybe it's on this page. Oh, yes. Okay, so it's coming up. Okay. Sorry, I got a question about untap.in from my buddy. Type in the land's name. Anyways, sorry. The next card is an interesting card. I'm going to click on it so that we can read it because I don't know calligraphy, and I hope you guys do, because then I could ask you guys to translate for me in the future. The name of this is not going to be Green Enchantment. It is a green enchantment, but it is not going to be named Green Enchantment. I don't, if I could type this in, I would, so that way we could know what it says. But it's a green enchantment, it's a rare, and it is 3 generic, 1 green to play it. The actual text says, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name as creatures you control, or a creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. So, I don't know where my head was when I was reading this the first time around. Today, I was like, oh, well, that's an okay card to play. That's kind of a weird, maybe you should play that in a format where you only play one of cards. And I was in there, and my friend, he made fun of me because he was like, you understand that you just described Commander, right? And I was like, oh, Commander? What? This is crazy for Commander, because whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you're playing green, so you're playing creatures, you draw a card, and they're not going to have the same name. Because why? Because it's Commander, and you play one of cards in your 99, so it's crazy. And then even your Commander will draw you a card, because why? Well, it's not in your graveyard, and it's not on the field already, so there you go. I like it. I like it a lot. I wish I knew its name. That's my only complaint. I want its name. Somebody translate. Making spoiler deck. Be on after that. Check on Luke. Sorry. Directly after this, I am playing a amazing Commander deck tonight. Stay tuned, check it out. It will be up shortly after this one. And before we go any further, guys, let me ask you guys to like, subscribe, do all the usual YouTube stuff. I'm not that big yet, but I've been paying a lot of attention to my YouTube analytics and learning as we go. So as we grow, I will start to be able to do more and more things, and I appreciate any and all support from you guys. I am y'all's biggest fan. Just saying. Next card, Rampage of the Clans. 3 generic, 1 green, instant, and it is a rare. Destroy all artifacts and enchantments. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green centaur creature token. The flavor text reads, rage, rage, and the whole world burns. So crazy already for Commander, because there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments that are just staples in every single Commander deck. You know, we were playing, for instance, we were playing our Commander Anthology Volume 2, our Christmas gift to ourselves in my play group for Commander and in real life. And one of the commanders is Verity. His whole deck is artifacts that bounce off of each other, and it doesn't matter what their power and toughness is, they bounce off of each other and just continue to do crazy things. Well, they're all dead with this card. I'm sure he gets all these 3/3 green centaurs, but they're tokens, so they're easy to bounce away, or I mean, let me put it this way. This what's it called? Planeswalker that I don't really understand. And I was also talking to my buddy about this Kaya Orzhov Usurper. She gets rid of him with that -1 ability of exiling it because it doesn't have a mana cost. So, yeah. Although, different idea, put it in a Selesnya deck and you can have the Smothering Tithe. And after you get enough of these treasure tokens, you make just a bunch of 3/3 centaurs and overrun the board. That's pretty good, you know. That's just my first thoughts on that card. Frilled Mystic, oh man, Simic is getting me. Simic it's almost there, guys. Simic is coming back, and I'm appreciating what they're doing with Simic. 2 green, 2 blue, creature, elf, lizard, wizard, lizard wizard, and it is an uncommon. Oh, guys. It has flash. When Frilled Mystic enters the battlefield, you may counter target spell. Its flavor text says, your arrival was expected and unwelcome. It's a 3/2. So, this card, I wouldn't have been surprised if they wanted to make it a rare. It's a creature that counters a spell. In the amount of Magic that I've played, I have never seen a creature that exactly says counter that spell. I mean, it's a counter spell. It's a freaking counter spell with the body, and that's what's crazy about it. Renewing my faith in Simic. Me and my buddy were talking about how blue and white looks so weird because, you know, blue-white in this set is like not going to be very control-y, like normal blue-white builds are or have been in past sets. And all of a sudden, Simic seems like it's the most control in this particular set. And by control, I'm not talking about burn or exile. I'm talking about counter and wanting to do things on your opponent's step like an actual control player would. So yeah, it especially with them having an actual creature counter spell, that's ridiculous. Anyways, electrodominance, X, red. It's an instant, and it's a rare, and electrodominance deals X damage to any target. You may cast a card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Flavor text says, basically, we turn a bunch of little lights into one big lightning. Little lightnings into one big lightning. Oh, what a joke. Anyways, this is what this card reminds me of. It reminds me of a Banefire, which is in standard right now, right? Because it deals damage to any target. So, yeah, Bane, let's go all the way over here. Let's move this all the way over here. Banefire deals X damage to any target, and if it's 5 or more, it can't be countered. For 1 extra red mana, this also brings something else out with it, and that's pretty good. It could be that last little bit of damage that you need, you know, maybe throw a shock or a lightning bolt in there, and then if you do it like that, not actually like, hold on, let me make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth. Cost X or less for may cast a card. Yeah, okay. Just making sure it could be a permanent. You know, you could put a creature on the board and that gets your board state up, you know. you could do stuff with this card. And if you use the burn idea where you're paying, let's say, 2x and 2 red mana, well, that's and you're playing lightning bolt for free, lightning strike for free. Well, that's 2 damage to some place, 3 damage to the other place if you wanted, or 5 damage to one place, and that's good for 4 mana. I think I keep going to the wrong thing. I think the only other thing that I know, let's type in Lava Axe MTG. Yeah, this deals 5 damage, 5, and it's cost 5. So you're getting already a discounted Lava Axe. Not that Lava Axe was necessarily a good card, but I saw a lot of play of it. Anyways, smelt-ward ignus. 1 generic, 1 red creature elemental, and it's non-common. Pay 2 generic and 1 red. Sacrifice smelt-ward ignus. Gain control of target creature with power 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate this ability only any time you could cast a sorcery. Excuse me. The flavor text says, "Come in, yes, it's warm." Is warm. And it's a 2/1. So a 2/1 for 2 with an ability that's 3 to mind control. And I like that because there's some cards like, let's skip over Blade Juggler for a minute and look at Bankrupt and Blood. Bankrupt and Blood says 1 generic, 1 black. It's a sorcery. It's an uncommon. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice 2 creatures, draw 3 cards. Your spirit can rest in peace for your debts are paid. I like that in smelt-ward ignus together in cards like Costly Plunder. Yeah, as an additional cost to cast Costly Plunder, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards. So it gives it just little things like that where you can mind control something away from your opponent, something, a get you lava mancer. What's another card that I can think of? It says 3 or less, so you could do a Goblin Chain Whirler, but I mean you'd have to do this after the Chain Whirler comes out. So, and then that's basically you trade this creature for that better creature and kill the better creature to draw you cards. So yeah, it would turn into something like, for instance, not this one as an additional cost, sacrifice 2 creatures, but this one, the Costly Plunder, where you only sacrifice 1 creature and draw 2 cards. So it is 2 mana. You're paying 5 mana to kill a creature with converted mana cost 3 or less and draw 2 cards in red and black, and that's pretty good. So, Blade Juggler, 4 generic, 1 black, creature, human, rogue, and it's a common. There was a lot of commons dropped here, and I'll just go over them quickly, but this one has Spectacle, which is, you get a discount if an opponent lost. You get to pay the Spectacle cost instead of his actual cost if an opponent lost any amount of life this turn. Spectacle cost is 2 generic, 1 black. When Blade Juggler enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. So, I'm going to take one stab at this name. I think it's Night Veil Reaper. I don't actually think it is. Reaper, MTG, RAVNICA, Guilds of Ravnica. This one, Midnight Reaper. Okay, so Midnight Reaper, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. So that's what that feels like. You know what? I don't know why I even went to Midnight Reaper when Dusk Light Zealot. Let's imagine that's how you spell Zealot. Okay. Enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. Dustlight Zealot's power and toughness. Open image in a new tab. Power and toughness is a 1/1. So it's like that. Except for you get a 3/2 body instead. So that's okay. I mean, granted, you have to. You're either paying 5 mana or 3 mana for this. I'd rather pay the 3 mana and let's do this well. But you know, you get what you get with spectacle. Sometimes they'll accidentally spectacle, and that will be fine. Ritmo das. Excuse me. I just realized this was in Spanish. So let's take a second and do something real quick. I meant to do this earlier, but I didn't have enough time to prep. My wife wanted to go watch Aquaman, and so that's what we did. We went to the movie theaters and watched Aquaman. Spanish to English. Translation. Okay. So, Ritmo das Selvagins. Alright. Ritmo das Selvagins. Okay, let's try Catalan. The other day I had a Rhythm of the Jungle. Yeah, okay. So this is Rhythm of the Jungle, guys. There you go. Ritmo das Selvagins. So creature spells you control can't be countered. Non-token creatures you control have riot. That's awesome. Why this is not a rare, it kills me. It's 1 generic, 1 red, 1 green. It's an enchantment, and it's an uncommon. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Non-token creatures you have riot. That's just really good. That's going to consistently give you... I do realize that there's no point in making another one. So, like, it's not going to stack. You're not going to get more triggers more triggers of riot. So, that's probably why it's not a rare. That makes sense. Yeah. Don't buy 4 copies, but buy copies. This is another one I'm very excited about. Me and my buddy were talking about it. Biogenic upgrade. 4 generic, 2 green. Sorcery, uncommon. Distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures. Then double the number of +1/+1 counters on each of those creatures. Flavor text: to survive exceptional times, we must adapt by exceptional means. Vanifar. Okay, cool. So, as I trip over all the words in the English dictionary, let's go look up the card that I want to talk about. Simic Ascendancy. The alternate win for Simic. And that is exactly why I'm excited for this. Because as many +1/+1 counters as you put on something, you will put that many +1/+1 counters or growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. And then if you have 20 or more on your upkeep, you win the game. So, and this is just a random scenario. I can't really think of a card that has 10 +1/+1 counters on it at the moment. But this will probably be one of the first things I'm brewing with, by the way. You have something with 10 +1/+1 counters on it, and you have 10 growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. Well, you just won the game if you can make it through the opponent's next turn. Because it is a sorcery, it's not an instant, and it does cost a lot of mana, but it seems worth it. Again, no 4 copies because of the mana, but get some copies. Next card, Quench. 1 generic, 1 blue. It's an instant, it's a common. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Countervailing Winds. Images. This is what it reminded me of. Countervailing Winds. There's another card in like Eldritch Moon that's very similar, but yeah, that's basically what it reminded me of. of maybe getting a cheaper mana cost, or maybe, yeah, getting a cheaper mana cost here to counter any type of spell, but it's controller based too, and it, you know, gets played anyways. The basic means around a counter spell, other than counter spell itself, I think is, it's 2 blue. But the basic idea around a counter spell is to play cancel. This is the basic counter spell. This is what all other counter spells are built around, in my opinion. And this is the building block. And so there's a reason why this is 2 mana, and there's a caveat based instead of just being a cancel by itself. We still have 6 more cards to go, guys, so bear with me. Thank you, thank you for staying with me if you have through this part of the video, because I will be going through a couple commons, and then there's some new stuff that just came out I haven't had time to look at, but we'll keep going up the list. Titanic Brawl. 1 generic, 1 green, instant, uncommon. This spell costs 1 less to cast if it targets a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Flavor text. Whoever wins the neighborhood loses. Okay. This card is Prey Upon for an extra mana. That's what this exactly is. So if you're not playing Prey Upon, you shouldn't be playing this card, okay? Prey Upon, target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. This is Prey Upon, but with a caveat. So, yeah, that's all I'm saying about this. Burning Tree Vandal, 2 generic, 1 red. Creature, human, rogue, and it is a common. It has Riot, so +1/+1 counter or haste. Whenever Burning Tree Vandal attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Flavor text, gosh, they put up some words sometime. Ostentatious splendor of the Orzhov Church was just asking to be smashed. So, being able to loot, that's what people call when you discard a card and draw a card, in case you're new to Magic. Being able to loot for your creature to attack is pretty good. I don't like that it's a 2/1 for 3. And, yeah, okay, tops a 3/2 for 3, okay, I'll give it that. With an ability, and it's common, it deserves its slot. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm just saying I wish it was more spicier. I don't know. Angelic Exaltation. 3 generic, 1 white. Enchantment, uncommon. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. If we cannot have peace, we will have justice. Aurelia. It's interesting to me that they would print a card like this, because this is kind of something you never expect. One of the cards I want to try it with is Grun. Because Grun already says, if Grun the Lonely was kicked, so it would come out for a 10/10 if it was kicked. And then whenever it attacks alone, double its power and toughness until end of turn. So it doubles, then doubles. So it could deal, if it was a 10/10, it could deal 40. If it was a 5/5, it could deal 20 damage. And if you give it trample, which is easy to do in Commander, not so easy to do in Standard, it's a lot of damage. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Other than that, like, the whole basis you know what, guys? I'm so sorry. I thought this said something else for a second. It would not double and double. Let me put my foot in my mouth for 2 seconds. It would not double and double. Sorry. I got ahead of myself. I want to see this on Grun, but in a Convoke type deck where you're building tokens. And make Grun huge is all I'm saying. Anyways, because you can stack triggers, so you could put an angelic exaltation, and then Grunt can double himself. That's what I was trying to say when I had it in my notes. I get it now. I see it now. Other than that, this is basically like you have all these creatures that you're keeping back to try to save yourself, but you have that one hero, like Aurelia. You have that one hero that you're just like, man, I'm going to keep attacking with this one every single turn, but it's just not doing enough damage, or I want it to be able to topple the defender that my opponent's going to defend with and kill it. Well, you doubled it, so I hope that topples it, you know? Anyways, grasping thrull. 3 generic, 1 white, 1 black. Creature, thrull, common, flying. It's a 3/3 flyer for 5. When grasping thrull enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each opponent, and you gain 2 life. The flavor text says, det do, the thrill's screeching makes children flinch, and debtors quell, det do. I think it's funny because like you could go to the end of the game and then they have this 2 life just sitting there, right? And you play this 5 costing 3/3 flyer common just to take their last 2 life. That's funny, dude. I do like that it drains life. It's a good common. In sealed format, in draft format, I wouldn't mind playing it, you know, because it drains. I like drain, and then it leaves a body that flies with evasion. So yeah, there you go. The next card, Hemongulus. 4 generic, 1 blue. Creature, Hemongulus. It is a common, hexproof. Oh boy, hexproof. Searching the city for FBLTHP felt like sifting the rain for a single drop of blood. So this card reminds me a lot of. Let's see if I can just put in hexproof turtle. Yes, hexproof turtle. Yes, the cold water snapper. Yes. So the cold water snapper is a 6 mana cost for a 4/5 hexproof, and that's how some play, especially in sealed and in draft. I mean, when you look at commons, you got to remember that most of your deck's going to be sealed. Most of your deck's going to be commons because you get a lot of commons from it. You only get 2 uncommons, 1 potentially 1 rare, and potentially a foil card. That could be common or rare or whatever, you know. So, I bet you this is hexproof. It's going to be a blocker more than this cold water snapper, which was able to kill some creatures. It's going to be a blocker because a lot of creatures, they will have 2 toughness, but a lot of creatures have 3 toughness, so it just goes right under there. And I really do. I guess I wish it was a 3/5 instead of a 4/5 just because of that factor alone. So the next enchantment, which is pretty awesome, Verity Circle, 2 generic, 1 blue enchantment, and it is a rare. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. 4 generic, 1 blue, tap target creature without flying. So I don't want to clap in the microphone, but this card is pretty cool. The flavor text says, "Here there is only truth. Barvisa Azurus Emissary." So there used to be a lot of tempo. Now is tempoing it back to your hand, but back when I first started in Eldritch Moon, Zendikar, Aether Revolt, and Kaladesh, there was a lot of tapping creatures and not letting them untap and all that, right? Well, you didn't have to pay 5 mana to do it, but this gives you that pacification array. Yeah, let's look up pacification array real quick. For all you commander folks out there, pacification array. yeah, I remember when this was in standard, and my buddy loved playing it. Specification of a 2 generic tap the artifact and tap target artifact or creature. So, you know, there's a lot of cards like this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start printing some. There was one, I don't really feel like going back for it. You know, I will. It's this one, Depose. So Depose, it says tap target creature, draw a card. Well, you would draw 2 cards. This makes it a divination. That's pretty fun. And you yeah, that's pretty funny. A divination plus a that was killing me last night. I can't think of a tap card other than Depose now. But yeah, so I like that card. That card probably might even go in my commander deck because, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it. This is on curve, guys. This is on freaking curve. So whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. So here's an idea, right? Why don't we sleep MTG, sleep them, sleep their whole freaking field, draw so many cards. Oh my god, guys, if they reprinted a Laboratory Maniac, I would go off. I'm telling you, I would go off. Anyways, so yeah, that's been the spoilers for today. There might be some more tomorrow. I don't know if this is going to pick back up on Monday or if it's going to pick back up tomorrow. I will be making videos every single day. I waited a little bit this time. It's 9:30 where I am, just to make sure I get all the spoilers from today. Please like, subscribe, do all the usual YouTube stuff. This is Sneaky Narcotic, signing off.